If you're thinking of moving to Sierra-Plumas County in Northern California, here's information that most people don't know until they move here. I'm Amber Donnelly with Century 21, a top realtor in the area. Not only have I raised my family in this beautiful area, but I've been selling homes for approximately 20 years and would love to be your realtor to answer any more questions you may have in this area. Let's start with the pros of this beautiful area. One of the things that I think is really important to know is the proximity to places like Reno, Sparks, as well as Tahoe, Truckee. It's a little over an hour from many of these locations, depending on which city you decide to relocate to. That makes it easy for accessing some of the bigger shopping. In Reno, there's an airport, lots of medical options, and it's nice to know that you're an hour from the bigger city. Another pro about the area is obviously the nature and scenery. It is so beautiful and remote, rural, fresh air, safe schools. I think that's a really big part of why some people relocate to the area or buy second homes. So with that being said, one of the cons though is that we are not the big city here. We have shopping and we have gas stations and we have great schools, but if you need to do big shopping, you will need to travel a ways depending on which city you decide to move to. Some of the smaller cities in Sierra County, for example, do not have a lot of shopping options and restaurants. But some of the Plumas County areas, such as Quincy, Portola, they do have some bigger shopping areas. But again, if you're looking for things like Costco, big grocery chain stores, you will have to go into Truckee as well as places like Reno and Sparks, Nevada. A huge reason why a lot of people move to Sierra-Plumas County is because of the outdoor recreation. There's many beautiful lakes with fresh water, hiking, biking, horseback riding, camping options, and it has become a favorite for a lot of people who are trying to get out of the city. That being said, you also have to understand that we have all 4 seasons, meaning when it snows, you have to have a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you need to have a snowblower, shovel at least, and be aware that it gets very cold, freezing temperatures. So some people consider that a con, others consider that a pro because they can do outdoor sports such as cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and in some areas they do skiing. So these can be considered a pro and a con. A very big pro about Sierra-Plumas County is the affordability factor. You can buy a lot more land and home for the money. And this is pretty rare in California, and it's a very beautiful part of Northern California that a lot of people don't know about. I call it a rare gem. So while that can be a positive thing, it can also be difficult because in a small town, you have smaller community places such as the planning departments. The permit process can be a little more in-depth than people maybe are used to with a city. But the positive is, sometimes since there's less population, things can move a little quicker. It really depends on what you're trying to do. And if you're trying to buy land and build, it's good to look into this. But I find it a pro because it's definitely cheaper acreage wise and houses can be more spaced out depending again on what communities you're looking to move to. So I would call it a pro, while others could consider that a con based on what they're trying to do and the permit process involved. Another pro is the small town vibe. I really like places like Graeagle in the summer because they do a lot of art festivals. There's great shopping. It's very unique housewares, clothing, great coffee shop, and access to Lake Basin Sierra Buttes, which is about a 15-minute drive from there. Beautiful for fishing, swimming, and it's off the beaten path, so you don't get as many people as, say, Lake Tahoe. And what I also like is there is camping options within Graeagle. Also, Lake Davis has a lot of options and people can bring their trailer to camp there as well as purchase land. And sometimes that's allowed depending on the zoning. So that's a huge pro for our area. And I really think it's worth visiting and taking a look at just for the outdoor factor as well as the community feel of each community. Quincy also has a great community vibe. They have a lot going on in the downtown in the summer, and I think it's got a lot of great coffee shops as well as restaurants, and people are very friendly. The experience you're going to have living in certain areas compared to others, for example, there's Sierra County, very rural and spread out with towns like Loyalton, Calpine, Sierraville, Sierra City, and Downeyville, compared to properties in Plumas County that are a little more populated, such as Portola, Graeagle, Quincy, and outskirts towns. It's important to know a little bit about these areas so you know which area you want to focus on. While the small town vibe may not be for everybody, it's also a great option if you still need to be in the city for conveniences but want a second home that's more quiet and off the beaten trail. So if you are looking for something like that, that is a great pro for this area as well. So I would love to help you. Again, Amber Donnelly. I am serving all of Sierra-Plumas County, California, and would love to be your realtor. I have experience and I would love to talk to you further about homes in the area, land, or just to tell you a little bit about what is so great about living and selling in the beautiful Sierra-Plumas County area. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel, and stay tuned for the next video.